Good evening. It is 6 o'clock, March 20th, 2025, and this is our regular scheduled Board of Trustees meeting. But before we get started, as you can tell, Ms. Rucker is out tonight. She is still out recovering, so hopefully she'll be back next meeting. So we wish her well. And tonight, before we got started here, we had a Hero and Heroism reception upstairs, and we inducted Bernie Atkins into the Heroes Hall of Fame. And so it's a big honor to get in there. And you think about heroes, to be called a hero for the entire district is a big accomplishment. And then I was down at Hilton Head this past weekend, and I went into one of the outlets, and they had a sign there at the cash register that said, "We honor our heroes." It had military, first responders, nurses, and then it had teachers. And I saw that and I started thinking, you know, it's odd to see that sign. All of a sudden we have heroes this week. And I started thinking, the teachers was on the bottom because they taught everybody that was above them. It started with a teacher. All the teachers that we have, they're heroes. They're heroes to us, to our kids, because you don't know what kid is watching you, what administrator, what kid is watching you, how you act, how you conduct yourself, and how you teach yourself. But the teachers on that list was the most important, because you could not become a fireman, you could not become a first responder, you could not become a nurse or a doctor without a teacher to get you started. So we thank our teachers. We thank our administrators. We know it's a hard job, but we thank you for everything you do. And to be called a hero is an accomplishment. We got a lot of them. There's heroes there that taught me, and that's the reason I'm sitting here. I never thought I'd be sitting here when I got out of school. But there was a teacher that was a hero to me that instilled something in me to give back to the community and to the school. So thank the teachers, thank all administrators. On behalf of the board, we just want to thank you all. So, but without anything else said, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Wooten.
We can let some more people in. It looks like there's still a bunch of people. Can y'all, if y'all are by the door, can y'all scoot forward so the people outside can come in? Keep it on coming.
I think we got more room on this side over here too.
It's no fun being stuck outside.
We have large groups.
Mm-hmm. And y'all can come on around behind the desk some if you want to. Come on up a little closer. Get them all in here.
Get on camera.
Y'all worked hard to get in here. Come on.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, I didn't know there's many out there.
I didn't either.
I could just see the heads piling up, and I was like,
In and out.
all right, that looks pretty good.
Okay. We are delighted to have with us tonight two students from Brooklyn Casey High School that will be leading the Invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Doing the invocation is Caden Morris. Caden is a senior at Brooklyn Casey High School. He is ranked third in the class of 2025. He is very involved in both his schools and community. During school, Caden assists with such events as Trunk or Treat, football games, Sustainability Club, and National Honor Society. Outside of school, he is very active in his church, devoted to his faith and his family. Additionally, Caden volunteers at any event possible, from archery tournaments to helping shut-ins around his community. As of now, Caden is undecided on a college. However, he plans to major in electrical engineer. Some of Caden's achievements are being a member of the National Honor Society, earning his AP Capstone Diploma, passing 8 AP classes, being accepted to USC Honors, Clemson, Wofford, and TNU in Nashville, being a part of a national qualified archery team for 7 years, and gaining the Palmetto Fellow Scholarship. Not to tell you where to go, but go Gamecocks. Kayla Ezell is a senior at Brooklyn Casey High School, and she will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Kayla who runs track and cross country. She is the National Honor Society's Vice President and Sustainability Club's President. Kayla is ranked first in the class of 2025. She was awarded AP Scholar with distinction and also received the AP Capstone Award. After high school, Kayla will be attending USC, majoring in environmental science. USC has awarded Kayla the Valedictorian Scholarship. All right.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful day you have given to us and the rain to wash away all the pollen. And we thank you for this time together that you have given us, God, and just be with us as decisions are made. And we just make better plans for the school district. As great as it is, we can always improve. And we thank you for everything you've done for us and everything you are going to do for us, God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you both.
All right, no objections. The consent agenda stands approved as presented. And we'll move to public participation. I don't think we have any tonight. All right, we're going to move on over to, I think we're going to honors and accomplishment. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hafner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. March is Music in Our Schools Month and Youth Art Month, and we are excited tonight to be able to highlight some of our high performers in the arts. We're going to start honors and accomplishments tonight with a short video of highlights from our district honor band, orchestra, and choir programs, our district art show, and the gifted and talented theater performance, all showcased here at the Performing Arts Center. Mr. LeBlanc will start us off with the video, and then I believe he will be asking any art teachers or directors here tonight who have worked with students who were part of these groups to come forward to be recognized. And after that, we will be recognizing winners from our district art show. So, Mr. LeBlanc, you have the floor.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Mr. Chairman, Dr. Hafner, members of the board, I am proud to recognize the many students and staff members who have played a vital role in our district fine arts clinics, cohorts, and programs this year. In tonight's video that you're about to view, you'll see excerpts from each of the programs Dr. Hafner mentioned, as well as you'll get to see some footage from the art show, but I encourage you, before you leave the building today, make sure that you tour the wonderful work that our students and staff have done outside. I'm really proud of the progress that our team has made over the last couple of years, and we're just getting started. Student participation in these programs has gone from 416 students last school year to 541 this school year. Our department leads, many of which are here tonight, and their departments spend a great deal of time prepping for these things and providing opportunities for our students. So I'm just thankful that you all allowed them the opportunity to be recognized tonight. At the conclusion, as Dr. Hafner mentioned of this video, please, if you are one of our teachers or directors, if you will join me right over here, I would like for you to introduce yourself, your school, and what you teach. But for now, let's get a snapshot.
Creature must need its rest if it's sleeping so soundly.
Yes, Your Majesty. So the great picker slept as the satyr slept on.
Don't do it, Pandora.
Listen to your friend and almighty Zeus.
I don't have to listen to anyone. Go away.
You'll be sorry.
All right, if you would please come up, my teachers and staff members. Visual art folks, y'all hang tight for a second. Ms. Laudenslager's going to call y'all up in a second.
Gage Thomas, Condry Elementary with general music and choir.
Amanda Hines-Rona, Airport High School Chorus.
Stephanie Walker, Saluda River Academy for the Arts Theater.
Hunter Reese, Busby Creative Arts Academy, Middle School Band.
Christy Gwynn, Northside Middle School Orchestra.
Hello, my name is Titus McCutcheon. I'm the new band director at Bilkin Casey High School.
Good evening, I'm Beth Brooks. I'm the choral director at Busby Creative Arts Academy.
So, Ms. Laudenslager, as you come up, I just want to remind everyone that in the coming next few weeks, we have next weekend our Frozen Junior show. Tickets can be found at lex2.org, or you can go to l2pack.lex2.org. It is going to be phenomenal. Our Anna and Elsa performed for about 1,000 people this morning at the Columbia Convention Center and received a standing ovation. So please come support them next weekend. It's going to be awesome. I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, I'm Tabitha Laudenslager. I am the visual arts teacher at Pine Ridge Middle School, as well as our district visual arts lead, and I'm going to be announcing the winners for our district visual arts show. Some of our winners were not able to be in attendance this evening, but I will be announcing all of their names. However, if you're here, please come forward to the podium and receive your award when I call your name. I'm going to start with high school. We have honorable mention for Lily Wadlington from BC High School. We also have honorable mention for Mayti Cervantes Montejano from BC High School. Honorable mention for Zoe Carter. She actually received 2 honorable mentions from Airport High School. Another honorable mention for Ava LaFollette from Airport High School. Third place for 3-dimensional art in high school is Savannah Scott. Third place for two-dimensional artwork in high school is Jalen Thames. Second place for 3D in high school is Zairia Washington. Second place for two-dimensional artwork in high school is Cesar Alonso Soriano. First place for three-dimensional art in high school is Jennifer Hernandez Velasco from BC High School. First place for two-dimensional art is Amelia Gaffney from Airport High School. And then our best in show for high school was Holly Kissling from Airport High School as well. For middle school, we have Puri Patel for honorable mention from Pine Ridge. Honorable mention also for Emma Peoples from Pine Ridge. Kayla Castillo Estrada from Pine Ridge, honorable mention as well. Destiny Williams, honorable mention from Busby. Honorable mention for Chandler Dorn from Fulmer. Third place for three-dimensional art in middle school is Lily Edwards from Northside. Third place for two-dimensional artwork, Elena Sullivan, also from Northside. Second place for three-dimensional artwork, Alicia Pareja from Fulmer Middle School. Second place for two-dimensional artwork, Anderson Sturkey from Northside Middle School. First place for three-dimensional is Jaden Rogers from Pine Ridge. First place for two-dimensional is Lane Kay from Busby. And then best in show for middle school is Elizabeth Boykin from Fulmer. All right, and then elementary honorable mentions. We have Grayson Durham from Riverbank. Livian Lines from Springdale. Kennedy Samuel from Saluda River. Pei Po from Casey. Brenita Mendez Perez, also at Casey. Jasmine Rivers, Congaree. Bo W. from Springdale. There you go.
He's precious.
Yeah, he is.
Miss Carmichael's third grade class did a collaborative work that won honorable mention from Casey. Demi McCullum from Riverbank. Austin Kent from Wood. Ava Finch from Wood is third place 3D. Third place for two-dimensional art is Brady Davis. Second place for three-dimensional art is Jesus Morales Lopez from Wood. Second place for 2D is Cesar Olano Surratt from Congaree. First place for three-dimensional is Wyatt D. from Springdale. And first place for two-dimensional is Olivia Anderson from Wood. And then our best in show is Darlie Perez Miranda from Congaree for elementary. If I could please now have all of our art teachers that are present come in, introduce themselves, and say where they are working. I would appreciate that so we can show some recognition for your hard work. Thank you, guys.
Hello, my name is Morris Wynn, visual arts teacher for Fulmer Middle.
Hello, I'm Carol Cathu. I'm at Busby Creative Arts Academy.
Caitlin Bailey, I'm at Congaree Elementary.
Hi, my name is Courtney Wooten. I'm one of the 2 art teachers at Herbert A. Wood Elementary alongside Miss Erin Irwin.
Hi, I'm Molly Curran from Airport High School.
Michelle Giovanni from Brooklyn Casey High School.
Thank you, guys.
Wonderful. Thank you all. Now we have Ms. Stephanie Walker again of Saluda River Academy for the Arts and Hunter Reese as well with Busby Creative Arts Academy, who will be telling us about our ABC schools redesignations at each of their respective schools and what it means for Saluda River and Busby.
Yes, thank you so much. We're happy to be here tonight. I want to start off by just talking a little bit about what ABC is and what it stands for. So ABC stands for Arts in Basic Curriculum. And that institute provides leadership to achieve quality, comprehensive arts education for all students in South Carolina, and that they have access to arts-rich educational opportunities as a core component of the curriculum. The ABC Institute is cooperatively directed by the South Carolina Arts Commission, the South Carolina Department of Education, and Winthrop University. The ABC Institute provides various arts grants and school certifications, networking with ABC schools, meetings, workshops, conferences, institutes, and more. And ABC even has their own app. So ABC currently serves 30,816 students, and there are 65 ABC schools in South Carolina, including Saluda River and Busby. And Hunter is going to talk a little bit about the certification process.
Every year, ABC serves as model schools for others in the ABC network and those who aspire to be ABC schools. So at the end of every year, you have to submit artifacts showing that you've submitted and completed things off of your school's strategic plan and through the funding given through ABC, through the district, et cetera. So at the end of every year, you're submitting 5 artifacts. We both went through our recertification year this year, meaning that we had to look back at the last 3 years and select some of the artifacts that we felt best encapsulated encapsulated our growth as our art schools. So that's kind of the process that we went through. After that, we had to have an interview with ABC where we talk about the growth and how our arts programs in both schools are being supported and how we're accomplishing things on our strategic plan and serving as that model school for others in the ABC network and as well as those who aspire to be. At Busby, we use that as a repair budget for our strings program. Our arts programs each get an allotment of money to help them buy supplies and materials, as well as providing art carts that allow our content teachers to have arts integration in the content classroom. Ms. Walker is going to talk. It's an honor to be in ABC school. This was my first year as a grant manager, so quite a doozy of a year to go through recertification, but very happy to help lead that for our school at Busby Creative Arts Academy.
Yes, we've done so much with the financial support from ABC. They do offer us $12,500 each year. So with that, we have also met the goals in our strategic plan. Those include having artists in residence work with our students. Last year, our fifth graders got to paint a legacy mural that's really, really beautiful with a local artist. It helps to provide field trips, state arts festivals, resources for curriculum and integration, productions, professional development for teachers, and lots of community outreach. So we're really, really proud to be an ABC School of Distinction. Thank you.
Next up, we have invited some of our fall and winter athletes who received prestigious recognitions in their sports to come here tonight and be recognized, along with their coaches and the athletic directors. We know many of our athletes play in multiple sports throughout the year, so not everyone could be here tonight, but we have a story and a list of all the athletes and their recognitions on our website, so be sure to check out that piece of work. But before we get to our high schools, I would like to invite our former boys basketball coach, Bryant Stewart, to the podium to talk about his team's season and a deep playoff run. Also, congratulations to Coach Stewart on your Pay It Forward Award from Watch Fox and the Jeffcoat firm. That was great.
Thank you so much. I'm going to let, I've got 4 of my guys here tonight. As you said, a lot of them are playing sports right now and tied up in other things. But I'm going to let them introduce their name and what grade they're in, and then I'll say a few words.
My name is Tyler Wilson, and I play for Former Middle Basketball School. And I'm in the 8th grade.
Hey.
Trevor Thompson, 8th grade.
Newton Harvey, 8th grade. Dakota Jones, 8th grade.
I'm gonna brag on these 4 especially. These 4 played on the basketball team for 2 years in a row now as 7th and 8th graders. And for those who are involved and connected to the school, to see the turnaround that they did from 7th graders to 8th graders was nothing short of remarkable. You know, we talk a lot about being special as a team and what that means, and we define that a lot of different ways. But these guys truly, truly are special, and I'm extremely proud of them, and thank you for this honor and recognition.
Of course, thank you.
That's all.
So now let's invite our high schools up to the podium to introduce athletes and coaches and tell us about their fall and winter recognitions. Come on up.
Good evening. I see some new school board members. Congratulations. I hope I get to meet you soon. I'm Shane Filler, I'm athletic director at Airport High School. I'm going to introduce our fall and our winter all-region, all-state, and our remarkable performances. So first, have all our airport athletes just come up and stand behind me, and when I say your name, just step forward and please give a wave. Please hold your applause to the end. So first, we'll start with our all-region football this year. Our quarterback, Del Rico Edie, not only was named all-region, but he was named all-state freshman. Linebacker Montrell Keys was all-region, all-state, and played in the North-South All-Star Game. Ben Humphreys, sophomore offensive lineman, was named All-Region. Daniel Butts, sophomore defensive lineman, was also named All-Region. In addition to Montrell, Avery Jones, a senior wide receiver, participated in the North-South game this year. Bryant Cherry, who we'll hear his name again here in a minute, was selected to play in the I-20 Bowl, which is schools across the Columbia area. Volleyball, Riley Colner was named All-Region Volleyball. Our competitive cheer team had 3 members on the All-Region team: Emerson Centerfit, Taryn Gooding, and Jemiah Jivers. And our coach, Emily Fiddler, was named Region Coach of the Year. Our boys volleyball team, led by Coach Shane Beaver, had the first region championship in boys volleyball in school history.
There you go.
From our boys basketball team, Daniel Jeffries was selected All-Region. Also won MVP of an All-Star game this weekend. And our girls basketball team, Josiah Booth and Angel Mays, were named All-Region. From our wrestling team, Bryant Cherry, who we mentioned earlier about football, talked multiple sport athletes, was named Region Wrestler of the Year and was All-State. Jonathan Brown was an All-Region wrestler. Bianca Bryant, All-Region. Given Dyer and Skylar Simmons. So we had 5 All-Region wrestlers. Bryant Cherry was also selected to participate in the North-South game for wrestling. And finally, our bowling team finished state runner-up, lost in the last shot in the 10th frame to River Bluff. Needed a 9 and got a 7. But Zoe Christian had the highest female score in the state. So we appreciate everyone's support up here, everyone that's in the crowd. We thank you very much at Airport High School. We look forward to coming back and introducing our spring athletes as they accomplish great things as well. Thank you, Mr. Shillett, for helping us and everything that we do. Please give our all-region, all-state athletes a round of applause. Now I pass off the mic to Coach Clyburn, or Mr. Jones, and Brooklyn Casey.
All right, I am going to have to extend the microphone a little bit. All right, I'm Lewis Clyburn, the new athletic director and football coach at Brooklyn Casey High School. Going to get our coaches and athletes that are in attendance. Come on, Coach Carl, there you go. You guys can kind of do the same thing, follow suit. And I'm going to talk about a few of these guys. I'm the new kid on the block, and then I'm going to empower coaches to come up here and talk about their teams individually as well. But this is an awesome opportunity to celebrate success. We have kind of adopted the motto in the past 2 or 3 weeks, kind of one of mine, that success is the standard. So this needs to be something that we build upon, certainly for all the sports in the sports seasons, but as we move forward. But in football, I know Coach Chris Wright is here and Coach Wells. We had a couple of coaches, but we had 5 all-region football players. And as I call your name, you can step up here beside me and hold your applause till the end. We'll kind of do them as a group. But in all-region football, we had Tyree Johnson, Myshawn Jones, Jordan Browning, okay, O'Brien Lephart, and Noah Jeffcoat. You guys can come on up. And then we had 2 that participated in an all-star football game. Javon Edwards participated in the North-South, and Tyrone Jackson participated in the I-20 Bowl. So for those football players, we can give them a round of applause. I told Jordan I like for him to stand next to me. He makes me better looking when he's just like that. No, we both got the same good-looking smile, but these guys have done a great job. I've enjoyed getting to know them the past few weeks being there, and look forward to the ones that are coming back, developing a relationship with them, and even our seniors that are leaving, like I told them, we now have a common bond, and if they need me, I'll help them in any way, shape, or form. But football players step back, and then the competitive cheer and the competition cheer, Coach Carl, come on up. That's gonna empower that, and I'm gonna let Coach Carl talk about her cheer team.
I'm a little shorter than you, so sorry, y'all. Okay, we had an awesome competitive season. It was a great time bringing competitive cheer back to Brooklyn Casey High School. It was awesome to just see how many new athletes we had. We actually had a stack of letters. We had 11 new varsity letters on varsity this year. So I would love to mention our 3 all-region cheerleaders and our 1 honorable mention all-region. Y'all can just come stand up here. Charlie Dawkins, Pashay Butler, Lydia Buell, and Cheyenne Kraut. Thank y'all.
All right. Jordan, that crowd made you look bad, dog. That's it. All right. Now for our basketball, I'll let Coach Wells come up here, and he'll talk about boys basketball, and then he can segue into girls basketball. I think we have a couple of our assistant coaches, and also the parents and families of some of these athletes are here as well. And obviously, we like to thank them, and we encourage our athletes to thank the people that brought you here. And that's usually mom, dad, aunt, uncle, any of those people in your support group. Make sure you thank them for their support. But I'll pass the baton now to Coach Wells.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. How y'all doing? I'm here to talk about our boys basketball team this season. Awesome job. The guys, I don't know what they were at right now. They must be at AAU basketball practice, but they did an awesome job this season. Many accomplishments. First thing I could think of, we had 19 wins. Some huge wins, by the way. 3 wins that I think about at the top of my head is Conway High School was a 5A school. They won the conference down at the beach. We beat them. River Bluff won their conference. We beat them. And Gray Collegiate, we beat them. So those are 3 big wins that I feel like we did a pretty good job. Not only that, we played in 3 tournaments, and we played in the championship game 2 out of 3 tournaments. We went to Carolina Forest. We played in the championship game against Christ Church. And in our tournament, which is Casey Roundball Classic, we played in championship game against the #1 team in 5A basketball, Burns. We lost, but the guys they played well. But overall, just an awesome season. We lost second round of the playoffs. We lost 81-75 in overtime to the #2 team in the state. Many reasons behind that. I don't know. One reason is that team shot 45 free throws, and we shot 15. But overall, I'm very proud of the guys. And, I'm very proud of the guys. They played hard. We had 3 all-region players. One of them was A.J. Edwards. Another kid was Isaiah Oree. And then we had Carter Jackson. Along with that, also, we had 1 kid that was selected to play in the North-South game. We're very fortunate in Lexington District 2 that we've hosted the North-South basketball game, which brings the top 24 kids from the state of South Carolina to Brooklyn Casey High School every year for the last 5 years. So every year on March 29th, the entire state of South Carolina high school basketball is present at Brooklyn Casey High School. Not only that, while I'm up here speaking, we're talking about fall, we also, for the 3rd year this past year, we hosted the North-South volleyball game. So the top 24 volleyball players in the state of South Carolina come to Brooklyn Casey High School every year. Just awesome that our district, we get a chance to just showcase our facilities and all the things that we do have over at Brooklyn Casey High School. But A.J. Edwards, he's going to play in the North-South game on March 29th. Along with A.J., I was very fortunate enough to be selected, too, as a North-South coach. So me and A.J. will both participate in the North-South game. With that being said, I appreciate your support for boys basketball this season at Brooklyn Casey High School. We're going to continue to push. We're going to continue to do great things, and we're going to continue to represent Lexington District 2 well. I'm going to turn it over to our girls basketball coach.
Good afternoon. My name is Tamara Chavis, and I'm one of the assistant basketball coaches at Brooklyn Casey High School. We had a great year with the young crew that we had. 60% of the team was 9th graders, so they have a bright future in front of them. And our all-region player is here, which is one of our dynamic freshmen. Just remember her name, Delasia Rouse, or Lele, because she is going to be a top prospect. Thank you.
And I'll close, but in closing, I will say this about girls basketball. About 6 years ago, the place I came from had a very similar group of freshmen. Joyce Edwards being one of those, or actually she might have been in the 8th grade, and that the entire team was made up of freshmen and 8th graders, and they ended up winning 2 state championships. So good things to come from girls basketball for sure. But I would like to thank the board, Dr. Hafner, Dr. Jones, and give one more round of applause for these young people and the coaches for their accomplishments. Thank you.
Thank you. As we wrap up honors and accomplishments tonight, I'd like to come back to 2 things from our honors and accomplishments from the February board meeting. First, you might recall the Pine Ridge Middle School Academic Challenge team was here, and they were headed to the state championship, and I would like to share that they came in 2nd place in the state at that event, and they finished their regular season undefeated, so let's give them a round of applause if we could. And also, as you might recall, Brooke Hyatt, a 4th grade Casey Elementary Lex2 launch teacher who was a finalist here last month for the South Carolina ASCD Induction Teacher of the Year. Well, on March 6th, a week later, Brooke was selected as the winner for that award, which is given to a first-year teacher who has created an environment for their students that is healthy and safe. Students feel supported, challenged, and engaged. So we thank Ms. Hyatt for showing that much mastery in her first year and just wish her congratulations.
All right. Well, I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Hafner for a superintendent update.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, my update this evening involves something that is near and dear to my heart. We all know that there are moments or experiences that can kind of change the trajectory of your life. And for me, that was student government in high school. I'm not suggesting I was a wayward child. I just know that I did not see in myself the potential that the adult leaders in my life did. And you've also likely heard me say that I've no doubt that experience was the beginning of why I'm here today. When we talk about heroes, that theme really resonated. I mentioned that to Lola Richburg earlier tonight. Tonight, I want to highlight the work of 2 exceptional young leaders who have exhibited initiative and collaboration across our district in an effort to increase school spirit, support our athletes, and grow the student experience. At this time, I would like to ask Airport High School Principal Mr. Matt Shillett and his student body president, Ms. Abby Rowley, and BC High School Principal Dr. Vance Jones and his student body president, Mr. Paxton Murgo, to come forward and tell us a little bit about the request that you made to myself and this Board of Trustees.
Well, it was a great introduction, Dr. Hafner, so thank you and good evening to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today because, you know, tonight and all nights are always about students, but this is 100% student-led, and you're in for a real treat, and I'm not going to steal their thunder. But my student body president, Abby, who's fabulous, by the way, is struggling with a major life decision. I'm going to put it out there, Abby. Currently, she has been accepted to and is about 50-50 University of Florida and University of South Carolina. So good luck, Abby, on your selection. So two great schools for a great young lady and a tough decision ahead. But she came to meet with me recently with a fantastic idea that these 2 individuals have come up with, which will improve the student experience, which you said in student life, for students at Airport High School and BC High for many years. I was highly impressed with what she shared, fully supported it, which is what you're going to hear about today. But keep in mind, this is 100% student-driven. Dr. Jones and I are just glad to support it and bring it forward to each of you.
And I'm excited to be here tonight as well. With my student body president, Paxton Murgo, a wonderful student leader in our building for the last couple of years. He's been the student class treasurer for the freshman and sophomore year, student body vice president last year, and now he's our student body president. Just a great leader, always involved, always trying to get our students going. Leader of our student section in our building on Friday nights, and at every game, just about every time I turn around, he's there. And so just a great leader, excited to have him here to present for you guys tonight, to talk about his wonderful idea that they came up with to get more students involved around our building. And I'm excited to announce that he will be attending the best college in South Carolina, if I can say so myself, Wofford College, where I attended. And so I'm excited to see all the wonderful things that he will carry on once he's on that campus. And so I will step aside so that our student leaders can talk about their wonderful idea that they've had.
Good evening. So basically, we got this idea because for the past couple of years now, our students have been having to choose between, we don't want to make them choose between their next meal and coming to an athletic sporting event. And our athletes are one of what makes BC an airport our schools. And so we wanted a sports pass to be able to be used for our students across the district, to be able for there to be easier access for most of our students to come. This way that we can lower our prices and we will allow for easier, more participation and all that good stuff. So yeah, increase more spirit. That's about it. And then we recently, this past weekend, attended SEASE for the first time in decades at BC. And a little fun fact, SEASE was started in the conference room at Brooklyn Casey in 1948, and the first president of the state was from Brooklyn Casey. So we're excited to join back in that legacy. And we earned the Silver Honors Council for first time in a while. So we're excited about that.
I did want to speak a little bit more about the student passes or the reduced prices for the football games. One of the biggest reasons I was really excited to push for this change was the financial accessibility point. A lot of students at both of our schools can't afford to pay the base ticket price required when attending games because of limited financial resources. The cost of attending these sporting events quickly add up, and I've seen firsthand students picking out which games they want to attend because they don't have the money to pay to attend all of them. So during the football season, we host around 6 home games, and the tickets are priced at around $8 each. This adds up to be almost $50 if a student wants to attend every game, and that's only for football. We still host games for basketball, soccer, baseball, track, and other sports. So a student who wants to actively attend all these games, it can quickly add up to hundreds of dollars. The financial expectation is extremely unrealistic for these students, and I strongly believe that the cost of these events shouldn't be the students' burden. Instead, we should be happy to host our students in an accessible and safe environment where they can participate in school spirit and feel more involved with their school community. And then I also wanted to talk about attending SASC State this past weekend. It's a really good opportunity for our student government members to attend a convention with other student government members in our state where we learn more about leadership, running events in our school, and we just learn how to be a better student government. So we get the opportunity to submit projects, and it's a few different requirements like upholding a constitution, regularly attending meetings and such. So we were honored as a gold council at the state level, and we're still waiting back to hear at the national level, but we're hopeful. And we also were able to submit 3 different projects to receive rankings on those. So we submitted our Valentine's baskets for fundraising, we submitted our Winterfest for community service, and our teacher appreciation for recognition. We received first place in recognition and first place in community service, which was very important to our student council because we work really hard, so it's really nice to see us getting recognized on the state level for those accomplishments. So thank you guys.
In conclusion, I will say that due to the efforts of these exceptional young leaders, we spoke with the principals of the schools and kind of talked about gate money and that kind of thing, and we're going to start out with a $2 student ticket as long as they have their LexingtonTwo ID, so that's any middle and high school, and they can come to our games this spring starting tomorrow for $2 a ticket, and we'll pilot it and see how this goes, but we're very excited to give it a good shot. So thank you for all your hard work and everything that you do.
I think we had a question.
Just wanted to say something. Guys, thank you so much for being a voice for your student body. Well, they're gone, but that is, here he comes. I was just
There he
saying,
is. There he
thank
is.
you so much for being a voice for your student body and speaking up for them. And I know Dr. Hafner, when I was able to attend that conference, that is amazing. I know you guys have been very involved, and I'm so glad that Brooklyn Casey is starting to go back to that conference. Thank you so much. That is amazing. Thanks.
Thank y'all.
All right, you done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're going to move on into finance. We're going to turn it over to Ms. Strickland now with the financial reports.
Good evening, everyone. You received a copy of the financials prior to the meeting, and I was just going to ask, are there any questions about the financials that you received?
Mr. Chair, the only question I have is, as I sent you earlier, the interest on investments is significantly higher. I went back and looked last year, and I think we budgeted 200K. We got like basically $1 million more than that. This year we budgeted 500K, and we're already burned way over at 220%. My question, not about the budgeting, I feel confident that we can tighten that up, but is this investment on our cash?
Yes.
So do we have any, on the accounting side of it, this is not truly an investment, we're just counting it as an investment through the revenue?
Yes, what we do is the tax revenue we receive from the county comes into our operating cash account, and I transfer that, mainly when we get the taxes, so the big cash deposits. I transfer that to the LGIP account where we earn a better interest rate, and then I draw that down as we need it, like to make payroll and to do accounts payable.
So this income stream is from our cash float sitting in the state LGIF or whatever it's called, and the interest that we're getting off that.
Yes.
So back in like 2021, 22, when it was at, 1 or less than 1% a month, then that's what we're doing. But now that we're in the 4s and 5% a month, that's why it needs to be adjusted.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. I think that was all. Yep, that's all. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, without objection, the monthly financial report are set as presented, and we're going to turn it over to Human Resources to Dr. Cooper.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Hafner. I'm going to call up Director of Human Resources, Ms. Stephanie Hucks, who will give you our standard vacancy update. Ms. Hucks.
Mr. Chair, board members, and Dr. Hafner, good evening. I do have the staffing report for you today. As of this afternoon, we have 11 support vacancies, 29 regular education vacancies, and 11 special education vacancies. Are there any questions? Okay, thank you.
No questions?
That concludes our report. Thank you.
All right. We're going to move on into instruction with Dr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good night. Good evening, everybody. First off, I just want to remind you, you have your monthly ABC report at your table, which will be uploaded to the portal, I believe, tomorrow morning. But we wanted to just call your attention. I have added to you, hot off the presses, the latest MAP results from this administration, the third administration of the test this year. So just want to make sure you had that. Call attention to that in your packet. As y'all recall, we give that 3 times a year. At our April meeting, we're going to bring to you our full results so that you'll be able to look back from start to finish, see what those final projections are. One note of caution, as you look at this and then you go to the April material, we still have some students who are doing makeup, so there could be a little shift here and there, but we think for the most part they're just about complete, so that it shouldn't show up a whole lot difference. But we are hard at work right now working with schools on how to close those gaps that still exist, looking at those trend pieces to really help our teachers understand where we want to go with that moving forward. But again, we'll have a full report for you in April when we'll look at a whole year worth of MAP information. The next item that I want to just speak to very briefly is, as y'all have asked us to work on, and we have been hard at work at, is looking at some high school learning options that are flexible in nature. So we have convened that team to work already. We have some homework assignments that have gone out to that group to start pulling some information and really looking at who we're targeting, how we're going to target them, and how we're going to support that work. And our goal is to have that, of course, in place for the fall. And at minimum, a pilot for some students, but we have some great ideas already out there. And we'll have a better report for you soon about what that's going to look like and how that work is going to transform our high school experience for kids to give them more opportunities to do things in a more flexible way. So we've got lots of things coming that direction for you. Also want to, my first agenda item tonight that I wanted to hit, but before I do that, are there any questions about any of the information that you have so far?
One question. Thanks for this report. I think maybe it was the January workshop sometime prior to tonight. We talked about, pun intended, mapping the MAP scores to the elementary report cards. Did we ever get a chance to kind of get a feel for that?
We've tried to look at some things where it may be. It's a hard comparison because one is a projection based on any given time. The other one is based on a whole different system. So it's hard to do an apples for apples. We can get a close projection of what that could look like, but it'll be very difficult to do an apples to apples comparison, so to speak.
And just kind of as a reminder, it's less about making sure that, this matches directly to that, but more about if I have a kid who goes to one school and a kid who goes to another school, that we're starting to find a way to weight those 1s, 2s, and 3s, and 4s appropriately on a report card. Because I know some of the subjects is very, very subjective, but then some of them are, you have a pretty strong foundation to follow. So I think it would, less of like trying to say, hey, oh, are we doing something wrong here or there, just making sure that it's more unified across the board.
I think MAP this year for us has proven to open a lot of question marks about a lot of our assessment methods and systems. And so we're going to be doing some thorough review of that. And that will include looking back at report card. How did these data sets give us more information to be able to more accurately project where a kid is? We have some other tools that we're looking at, and just really in general, our whole assessment platform, just how do we do that? How often are we doing that? What does that look like? And that'll be part of our curriculum work that our teachers are going to do with us this summer, and have that all in place for the fall.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. The first agenda item that I had tonight, Mr. Chairman, I want to provide for you, as you all recall back in August, seems like 3 years ago, but it really has just been a few months. We brought you a proposal to approve a waiver request for the state of South Carolina to allow us to do high school credits through exams. And as part of the request at that time when the board approved it, you asked us to give you an update. So tonight I'm going to give you the first update, but I'm going to do it through one more student recognition, because I think to help you understand how valuable this is, you have to meet a young man. I'm going to introduce him, Jonathan Ramirez Batista. Wave your hand. There he is, who is with us tonight. I want to tell you about Jonathan and then tell you what he did, because Jonathan is our first. Jonathan was the first student in LexingtonTwo to take advantage of this assessment method to receive high school credit. Jonathan's a student at Airport High School, exemplary student, by the way, enrolled in honors classes. He is an immigrant student who arrived from Mexico at 7 years old in our country. A member of the airport band, plays the trombone and the euphonium, and made region band twice playing the tuba. So I'm impressed. That's pretty impressive. He plans to attend Midlands Tech and then transfer to the University of South Carolina to receive a bachelor's degree in engineering while also working on a performance degree so he can continue his instruments. As I said, he was our first student, and as promised, we wanted a rigorous assessment that would give kids a challenge to make sure that they earn credit if they take that exam, and then we award them credit. The test that we chose for foreign language is called STAMP. It's a STAMP test. It's a national test that is reflective of the state standards, but it really assesses thoroughly kids' ability. Reading, writing, listening, and speaking skills are all tested in this system. These tests are aligned to U.S. and the European proficiency standards. So in working with the State Department and putting this together, Jonathan was our first to take this because we felt pretty confident that he could earn some credit in Spanish through exam rather than having to sit through classes. So Jonathan took the test, scored advanced low in speaking, advanced mid in listening and reading, and when we started to evaluate what he should earn for his scores, Jonathan didn't just earn Spanish 1 credit, Jonathan earned Spanish 2 credit and also Spanish 3 credits. So he is going to earn 3 high school credits off of his success on 1 exam. So we have now saved him 3 courses from having to take those. But most importantly, he performed that high and will now enroll in Spanish 4. So he has gotten all of his credits from just sitting for an exam that was administered by a person from this office at the school. And also, because of all of this, he also has already earned his seal of biliteracy for demonstrating proficiency in English and Spanish. So I wanted him to be here tonight when we talk about him, because I'm just going to admit we were quite surprised and happy when we saw your score. A whole bunch of us on the hall were all talking about how exciting it is to not just get 1 credit, but 3 credits from his score. So I think we ought to give him a round of applause. Anything, would you like to say anything to this board?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me here, and I think it's very important that people like me try to continue their education in their own native language, because when I first arrived here, I didn't know any English, so I only focused on English. But now that I'm getting into higher education, some of the stuff that I'm learning in English, I'm not learning in Spanish, and I'm losing some of that ability to speak in Spanish or to write. Writing was my lowest score in the assessment, and that's what I want to focus now that I'm enrolling on English in Spanish 4. I want to be able to write. I want to be able to, connect with my past, because, I mean, you never want to lose that idea. You wouldn't want to lose where you came from, because your beginnings are always, they're the reason that you're here to this day. So I think that's one of the most important things to remember.
We're very proud of Jonathan, and we wanted to showcase his work because we are about to launch some additional tests. So students who are looking for ways to get those credits, we can provide them with that exam. So this was our first success story. We hope to bring you more and more of those in the future, so that you can see the great things our kids are doing through that. So thank you for being here tonight. Next up on my report is our update on the underperforming schools. As you all recall, back at the beginning, I guess in January, we brought this to you, and per state statute, we're required to give you 4 updates a year on the progress of our schools. And so this is what we'll call our 30-day update. We are not going to read through all of the slides because those are just the restated goals. And so tonight, the first, if you'll stop at that first slide, back up just a little bit for me. Just as a reminder of some things that we've done sort of at the global level, we are at the district level in more of a global perspective. All of these schools, of course, we're continuing our problem-solving team meetings with these schools. They've all had 2 of those now where we've brought our district team together to really work, to analyze, and really help support work that's happening in the school, as well as continuing to support teachers in the building through our content specialists and providing whatever supports we can to help these schools reach these goals and thus improve their performance. And so tonight, rather than, again, reading through all of this, we've provided this to you with the 30-day reports. And if you'll kind of scroll down, each school has provided for you their update, things they've been working on, things they've been working to achieve over the last 30 days of this. And again, we will bring this back to you we'll bring this back to you 3 more times to review. But I did want to give you all an opportunity to ask any questions you might have about the work that's happening at our schools. Our principals are here, and certainly we would love for them to answer any questions that you might have.
Mr. Chair, the only thing I'd say is I would love when we get the next one, you can tell qualitatively there's a lot of work going on, but quantitatively we don't have much to target.
Sure.
And all of these are going to be based on that quantitative result. So if we can if we want to be able to kind of be real and say, hey, here's where the change management needs to happen, let's make it as targeted and niche to the quantitative bullets in these results. Not that all this wonderful qualitative work doesn't matter, and it does, but it's the number that's going to really show.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
And we also totally understand that and expect that in the next round you will see results of benchmark assessments for EOC courses, potentially some projected graduation rates. So there will be many more metrics that we'll be able to show with you because we'll have those data in hand by then.
Ms. Burkett?
I just wanted to comment on the same thing. Congratulations to all of you who are working so hard. I appreciate your effort so much. I particularly appreciated that Casey Elementary made it really easy for us by saying last year 76 students were meets and exceeds, and this year 123 students are meets or exceeds. And that's actually what we're talking about, is just assume that all of this fabulous work that you're doing is over our heads, okay? And it helps us a lot if we just have a very simple metric to go by. And everybody else said our plan is to improve. Well, we'd like to know how you're going to improve specifically via numbers. And I think goals are important. You know, they're important for everybody. You know, if you're trying to do a walking program and you say, I'm just going to walk a little bit more than I did yesterday, well, that might be 5 steps. But if you say, I'm going to walk 2 miles and I was walking 1 mile, then you've actually got something to shoot for. So that would be a big help to us if we knew specifically what it was that you were shooting for. So thanks very much, guys.
Mr. Hall?
Yeah, I appreciate all the, I have a hard time. I appreciate all the, from the, being new on the board, understanding the work that each of the schools are doing to improve their report cards. But, you know, I probably need it, you know, and this goes out to the general public, just a little more, I don't say dumbed down, maybe it's the wrong word, but red, green, yellow, you know, how we doing that type of thing. And maybe it's too early to tell, but just something that's more concise for us as board members to understand, but also just our, you know, the general public to kind of understand our progress. That's my only feedback. So.
Any others? All right, you still got more, don't you?
Thank you, sir. My final piece this evening is it's textbook adoption season. And so tonight we bring to you for consideration and approval the math materials. They are up for adoption this year, and Jennifer Wise, our math content specialist, is going to provide you with some information about that.
Dr. McDonald. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Hafner. We would like to share with you our process for reviewing instructional materials to support the 2025 South Carolina College and Career Ready Mathematics Standards, which will fully be implemented during the 24-25 school year, our recommendations for materials, and our implementation plan. This work began at the state level in the summer of 2024. The South Carolina Department of Education partnered with EdReports, an independent company that reviews instructional materials, and they designed a thorough rubric to review curricular options for state-level approval. The review process at the state level included 3 gateways, the first of which involved alignment of resources to the 2025 South Carolina College and Career Ready Mathematics content and process standards. The State Board of Education approved the initial list in January and approved additional options in February after a cure period, which allowed publishers to resubmit updated resources. As a district, we took a 4-pronged approach. With the approval of the initial list, we shared links to digital access and feedback forms to LexingtonTwo staff members. We also posted the information on the district website for community review and feedback. This feedback was reviewed as our first data point. Next, we used an evaluation rubric similar to the state's to review texts, which included precise alignment to standards for specific grade levels and courses, and the reading levels to which the texts were written. As a third consideration, we attended a textbook caravan with members of the instruction division that support our special populations. We often hear from teachers that they desire resources that provide effective supports and strategies for students with disabilities and multilingual learners. As such, we asked our coordinators for special services and the director of multilingual and ESOL services to review the instructional materials for those supports. As a final step, we invited representatives from schools to come to listening sessions held at the District Education Center. We took notes as teachers shared pros and cons from each resource. We also specifically considered one standard that would be new for grade bands or courses, and teachers reviewed each of the texts for alignment to those resources that would be available for teachers when teaching lessons associated with that standard. This process was detailed and rigorous. but it allowed us to consider many aspects of the instructional resources and ensure that we were identifying those which would provide the greatest benefit to our students and teachers. Based on this process, we identified these texts for each of the grade bands and courses listed. As a point of note, the resources would also be used to support our immersion, advanced, and honors courses. For example, for our immersion classes, there are Spanish versions of the Envision texts. Similarly, if approved, we would use the Envision resources available for our advanced middle school math classes and the Math Nation resources for our honors geometry, Algebra 1, and Algebra 2 courses. Recognizing that we have teachers who may teach multiple levels of a course, we wanted to limit the number of platforms between which they needed to switch. Given there are many changes for the K-12 mathematics next year, we're working to ensure teachers are comfortable and confident with the standards and instructional resources. We've identified focused areas for that work. With those areas of focus, we've created a timeline for offerings. We want to ensure that multiple opportunities are available for teachers and that we can work to approach this in a manner that's both digestible but not overwhelming. For example, there can be a large number of supplementary resources that accompany instructional materials. We want to gradually introduce those resources. It is wonderful if someone wants to explore them on his or her own, but we want to be careful not to attempt to incorporate too many things at one time. As an additional point, we want to provide information to teachers as soon as possible, but also incorporate refreshers and opportunities for teachers who will be new to LexingtonTwo next school year. With that, thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the recommended books from the instruction.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Can I just have a comment? You know, I have a lot of concern about the math, and you guys are the experts on the textbooks and the materials. But I'm sure you're aware that in the United States as a whole, 78% of eighth graders can't do math on an eighth grade level, and our district is sort of in that same boat with everybody else. And what I note about our scores, like our state scores of last year, is that we drop down consistently from third grade to eighth grade, that we have about 40% of them in the third grade who are on grade level, and they just drop off and drop off. And what that says to me is that we're not, that our teaching or learning is not strong enough in those first 3 years, that as they have to do more complex math and as they have to do word problems where they're actually reading, that they're not able to do it. And so I know that the state has these new standards coming in, and I just wonder how confident y'all feel in these new materials and in teachers' abilities to adapt to them so that we actually see some improvement in that.
So thank you for that question. One of the pieces that our new standards are addressing in many of the resources that you see listed, all of the resources that you see listed here, look at the mathematical approach of what we actually call concrete to representational to abstract. We learn mathematics best when we can put our hands on it, and that is true for a kindergarten student, but it is also true for a student who is in upper level mathematics in high school. So we have really made intentional purchases with some of our math funds to put manipulatives in all math classes, including our high schools. We brought in professional development for it. Through the month of January, we actually did sessions on what are called algebra tiles. It teaches me how to work with even quadratic functions in Algebra 2, but do it with my hands so that I can see that. And not only did we invite core content math teachers, but we also invited teachers who are in academic support classes and our multilingual specialists. So as students are getting support outside of their math classes, all individuals who are working with them can feel confident in that work. And we're working with our coordinators and directors for special populations to offer more of those and continue to provide manipulatives for all those levels. So that gives us that concrete piece. Then we move to representational. We could call that pictorial, where I'm going to look at visuals, or even a manipulative on a screen. If I don't have my hands on it, but it's still pictorial, that's going to be that representational phase. So I start to kind of phase out of always needing my hands on it. I may still at times. We're not looking at silos. It's kind of more like not a layer cake, but a marble cake is a great way to think about it. And as I phase through these, and then it's with that understanding, what we would say building conceptual development, that I time move into that abstract, and we're going to see that procedural fluency. So since that's how we're learning that, we're making sure that the professional development and the resources we provide align with that, and we've looked at these texts with that same knowledge in mind.
So is this new for us? Is this a new approach? I'm just wondering how we got to where we are now. Because I'm assuming we've got a lot of great math teachers. I have to assume that. And so, I mean, is this new? Is it a new approach?
So what I would say is for the last maybe decade and a half, we've really been looking at mathematics from a modeling standpoint. So it is different than just approaching it algorithmically, but seeing models, understanding the concept of how it works together. And some of you may remember the unit circle from pre-calculus and remembering where everything goes. But the reality is, it's really just a bunch of circles fanned around themselves. So if I understand, a bunch of triangles, fanned around. So if I understand triangles, I can actually really master, and that's at an 8th grade level with special right triangles, I can have a strong understanding of this pre-calculus skill. And so it's looking to see where those connections are and building it and strengthening those models. It's different than many of us learn mathematics, myself included. It's different than we were teaching mathematics when I first came into the profession as well. So some of it is building our capacity to understand the models. We're working with teachers, we're working with our coaches. I'm learning myself. Like every time we have the opportunity to grow and strengthen our understanding, that's more that we can support our students as well. And that's where you're going to see the transition in our standards as well, is looking at the models so that, again, we can build that conceptual understanding, have a strong, firm foundation of the mathematics that then allows us to interact, compute, calculate. We also look at how are we assessing what we're assessing. If I'm looking at something that is the surface area of a cylinder, but I don't allow a student to use a calculator, I'm actually assessing their computation, not their ability to perform this other task. And so we're being really intentional. I think the state is doing a great job with looking at standards as well and enabling us, supporting us in that. And even yesterday, actually 2 days ago, they put out a memo for the offerings that they're going to be having around the state in the coming months to support teachers in addition to the work that we're doing. We were able to push that out to our teachers. We know spots are limited, and we wanted as many of them as we could get. So we pushed that out, and we've already had a number of teachers reaching out, telling me, they're like, I registered for this one, I registered for that. And it's been really exciting. Like we've had great conversations with our teachers. I visit schools on a very regular basis. In many, I have full day sessions every month where with every teacher in the building, and we talk about what's working, what questions do we have, and we can almost have mini methods or like college math classes in small sessions so we can feel confident about what we're going to do next to support students.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
And Dr. McDonald, I'm assuming come this time next year that you'll be giving us some feedback on how this curriculum is working.
We will. And if I can just add to what Ms. Wise has shared already, I think that the main piece for us right now is to help our teachers know that maybe that resource you had from 15 years ago, it hadn't produced the results we want. So let's look at these resources because they are well aligned and there's going to be some great supports for them. And as we write curriculum this summer, we're trying to make it so that our teachers will be able to pick it up day one and be able to get to work. I'm one of those, I don't want to see them spending 6 months trying to plan and prepare. Let's give them as much as we can to get them going so they can work with our kids' needs. And I do think that we've got the right resources, and as we pull some of these myriad of technology programs that we have to support math, we're going to focus on a core group and really be strong in those areas, like take a step back from having too much to really right-sizing what we need to do. And I think that's going to be our approach. Our whole team has kind of taken that approach already. So we will definitely bring back a report for y'all.
Okay, thank you so much.
And I hope you're going to see the results in the scores. That's where we want to see it most.
Thank you.
Ms. Wise, I definitely don't know pedagogy. I don't even like saying that word. But my kids did Montessori when they were young, and their manipulatives seemed very similar to what you're talking about. Like that was just how they teach math. They build it, and then they model it and move forward. And it was always successful from DC, and then back here, you could just see that the kids picked it up. So what you're saying makes tons of sense. However, in the Montessori world, the acceleration was up to the kid. And I don't know if it's a concern, but my question is, if I'm working with manipulatives, and I got it. I've got that 10 by 10 makes 100, and I take 10 up, and now I've got a cube. I've seen it. Then a lot of the kids in like the Montessori world, they move right past the modeling to kind of like the math, what we used to call the math. Do we have that ability to to kind of keep the ball rolling on the acceleration side while also not letting other kids in that same class fall behind. I feel like that might be tough with classes of 24 third graders.
So one of the things thank you for that question. One of the things that does make that possible is having the manipulatives available for students, but that if you can demonstrate this in another way, that's okay. So we've actually looked at, for some of our math assessments, we've actually moved to giving those in almost more of an interview style with the students, so we can have them explain to us how they knew the answer and how they could come about it. And maybe they are gonna need to have their hands on those manipulatives. And we see this a lot in our earlier grades, but we are assessing we are using this for a method for some of our assessments in third grade as well with multiplication facts. Like, how do you go about finding this answer? Because that's gonna allow me to assess your understanding and also provide intervention to help you strengthen that understanding. And so to your answer, yes, there's spaces for each of those. At some points when we move into a different method, we are moving into the expectations for a different grade level. So we're being intentional of like, when do we recognize that we're shifting into content that is the depth of the grade level standard, but when are we stepping into another grade level as well? And so in being knowledgeable of that, and that even though maybe I am working in the algorithmic space right now, when I see a problem that's just a little bit different than what I've done before, that it's okay to pivot back and pick up one of those manipulatives, and so that I can freely move between the three and I don't feel like I have to be living in just one.
I feel like that's going to be a big, to Ms. Burkett's question, that's going to be a big change. That's not the world that, we're used to, especially in math. So I look forward to seeing how that works. We know there's success around it, so I appreciate everything y'all are doing to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any others? All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 6-0. That concludes.
For me tonight. Thank you,
All
sir.
right. We're going to move on into operations and turn over to Mr. Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Hafner. Excited to provide another operations update tonight for you from the month of March. As you see, things continue to roll in the world of operations. A few highlights here that I'd like to point out. Safety and security. We actually hosted a pre-planning meeting with multiple stakeholders in emergency management from across the state recently. We're going to be the host of an evacuation seminar this summer that will bring together not only school staffs and law enforcement, but also PIOs, other emergency responders, really just working through those scenarios. You don't rise to the occasion, you rise to the level of your practice and your preparation. So really excited about the work that Ms. San Giuliano is doing in that department, especially with us being able to be the leader, I feel like, in the safety world here in the area, hosting, bringing these folks in, being open to kind of being the host sites for multiple trainings and events with our law enforcement and emergency response partners. Facilities and maintenance, more highlights there for you, for our team there. Retention wall was built at Airport High School's softball field. Real excited about that. We've had a lot of erosion issues there over the years, and Mr. McPherson had a vision there to correct that issue, and so I encourage you to go by and see that work. Very excited about how that's turned out. Once we get some grass seed down and that starts to take, it's going to be really a beautiful, even more beautiful facility for our student athletes to utilize. HVAC control work continues across the district with work happening at Wood Elementary to improve the controls there. And then, paint continues, something we focused on this year. I mean, it sounds like a little, but it makes a lot of the difference when you get out there and you really, focus on, dressing up your areas with batting cages being painted, exterior doors being painted, and also awnings at airport, at the arena and field house being painted. So just, really makes those areas pop, makes them look new, and really brings a lot of pride and excitement, to those facilities. Down in transportation, once again, like I said before, with safety and security being a leader in the industry, I also feel like transportation here in LexingtonTwo, very similar. We have one of the best, GIS mapping systems that I've seen, in the time that I've done this, and our partnership with the county has allowed us to do that with our school zones being located actually on the Lexington County website. So continuing to refine those maps, making sure you can, turn on and off multiple undesired layers. You can zoom in and out, for those different boundaries, really, helps with our community kind of seeing, where they would go to school, the boundaries, and as folks that want to move here, it's very easy to navigate and identify our school zones. Student support services, school choice and employee choice is being finalized. Also want to highlight a couple weeks ago, March 2nd through the 8th, was National School Social Worker Week. Was happy and excited to go by and, meet with them for a little bit, towards the end of that week, and thank them for all the work that they do, for our families and communities here in Lexington too. So just want to, celebrate them one more time. And then lastly, athletics. I included the list of athletes that you heard from earlier. Just want to recognize them one more time. Lots of great things happening in the world of athletics here at Lexington too, and just wanted to acknowledge, their accomplishments one last time by including them in this month's update. Any questions on that piece? Also included, in your information is our CPIF update for this month, as work continues and, across the district. So happy to answer any questions or respond to anything that you'd like me to.
Good, Ms. Castles?
Thank you.
You probably know what I'm going to ask about. So where are we with the scoreboard for the Brooklyn Casey?
It's been installed, and we are just fine-tuning some connections there with the wiring and all, looking to flip it on the end of next week is what we're tracking for.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, but I'm disappointed that we have had 3 games for women's and men's soccer. No, I don't even know how they do the, not the pledge, but the national anthem. Coaches are having to yell at the referees to get the time. I don't know how the kids play. Here's what I would say. If we walked in this boardroom tonight and there was no air, I feel like we would get someone and go get fans. So I was going to say, the next game, I hope, if it's not ready, that we can do something to accommodate them to have a clock to play, because I don't even know how that worked. But I just hate for visitors to come to play and for our team to play without a clock to even see. So I'm glad that's about ready.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? All right.
Concludes my report. Thank you.
All right, we're going to move into, under new business.
That's
Your
right back to
CPI.
me.
Right back to you.
So before you tonight, you have the first reading of our capital improvement budget for the 25-26 school year. You see that is, a draft CPIF, for first reading. And we do want to hit a few highlights first before I take any questions. I won't go through every single one of these lists. It is a pretty extensive list, through work, with our principals and our maintenance and facilities team, kind of identifying, continuing to work on some needs that we have, across the district. You see the first portion there is for our technology needs, our annual 3 through 12 Chromebook refresh. You see the budget for that. Also the iPad refresh for grades K through 2. And then, computer lab refresh, we budget for that every year, to make sure we're upgrading computer labs, across the district, with new devices, and then server and our UPS upgrades. And then rolling down into, the operations portion of our CPIF draft. Once again, we talked about this a lot last year, really, intentional focus on HVAC and roofing, across the district. Really feel good about where we are, with that work. I've been very intentional about, that building envelope. And so you'll see HVAC work at airport. That's for the auditorium units. There's 2 large units there and several other smaller ones that we're looking to address with this. Moving down, you see Busby as a roof replacement. That school was opened in 2005, so above that 20-year mark for the lifespan of a roof. So you see that budget there to replace the roof at Busby, and then you go down to see also, we've talked about this before, about catching some rooftop units at Busby along with the roof. That's when you want to do those rooftop units if you can. It's not always feasible, but if it is feasible, it's always best to catch those rooftop units, when you're replacing the roof. Brooklyn Casey High School, we're going to do an awning from the Fine Arts Wing to the West Wing to help, when there's weather issues, to make sure students have cover when they make that trip to the West Wing. HVAC replacement there as well, looking at the Science Wing, part of the South Wing, and possibly the East Wing. We'll see how much we can get done for that and catch the most critical areas, in that area at BC. You see there's elementary school work, some additional playground equipment at Casey, some canopies. Excited about this at Newbridge, some canopies for their outside area to be able to go outside and, when it's sunny or even, raining, some areas for shelter out there. Some front office renovations, we've done a lot of that work, continue to do that, looking at Northside Middle to do some work there. And then at Pine Ridge, some erosion control and talking to Ms. Holloman there, just really trying to focus on that back area a little bit better and avoid, some backup that we see there, from time to time. That's something we'll look at doing. HVAC upgrades there. I know we've talked about some issues we've had at Riverbank and looking at doing some more work there to avoid more issues in the future. We've had some failures with that equipment, and so we really need to be intentional about addressing that. And then you see some more roofing at Springdale and also at Saluda River, catching the remainder of those roofs from their most recent renovations to bring those roofs fully into warranty would be a very big win for us and our department. And then you see transportation. The last time we purchased an activity bus was back in the 1920 was the last time we purchased an activity bus, for transportation. So we do need to upgrade that fleet, and you see those 3 buses there. And then also paving around the district with a focus on airport and BC to do some milling and resurfacing, of asphalt.
That was horse and buggy back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
2020, right?
Yeah, 2020, not 1920.
Well, yeah, 2019. I was wondering what was so funny. I thought it was the guy vacuuming. I didn't know if that was like, yeah, if we'd have waited since 1920, we'd have a little different. I'm not sure I'd be sitting here if that was the case. But 2019, 2020 was the last time we purchased buses. I'm not sure Tony'd still be hanging around if we made him work with that. And then, HVAC controls, we did a lot of that work this year and want to continue that. Also, you'll see a placeholder at the very bottom, and that is for property acquisition and other major construction. That being, a focus on, what's in our capital improvement plan is a new Congaree Elementary School, and then also after that, a new transportation facility. So with this, we're starting to earmark some funds, for that work that we'll continue to talk about. But, with CPIF, you have 3 years to make those expenses once you commit the funds, and we feel like, we can be in position to start, funding those projects within that time frame for holding some of these funds, for that work. So once again, first reading for our 25-26 CPIF draft, and happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve first reading of the CPIF budget for year 26 as presented.
I have a motion, I have a second. We have a second. All right, any discussion?
With it being a first reading, how we have typically done it, minus maybe the last meeting, I'm good for voting for it, but I do think in the future we should have the long-range discussions, that maybe we'll have some discussions in executive prior to voting on this. That is a kind of a backward plan. So we should have those discussions, long-range plans should be agreed upon, where we're going, and then we should take the CPIF budget and with that millage that is thrown on top of it and do a first reading after that. And then leaving 1 month for the audience and everybody who pays attention to be able to come back speak on it and make adjustments before the second reading. So I think we're fine here. Hopefully we can keep this precedent where we move forward with first readings on 2 reading items, but I definitely think that's something we need to keep in mind.
All right, Ms. Burkett.
Being new, I mean, it would be very helpful to me to see a long-range improvement plan, because I'm sort of seeing this with no point of reference, if you will. I don't know how long it's been since we've done any of these things, et cetera. And so it's either that I just vote yes, that we can do it, it's sort of cold turkey, not knowing anything about it, or actually have a frame of reference to see, when were these things done? Is this a good use of these funds? Should we do this now? Should we put this off a year, et cetera? So I'm assuming from what my fellow board members are saying that we'll see a long-range plan before we approve this, because it just would be helpful to me.
Yes, ma'am,
Thank
you
you.
will.
Any other discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're gonna move now into consideration of 5 student travel requests.
Mr. Chairman, if it's all right with the board, I'm going to combine B and C and make a motion that we approve the 5 student travel request as presented, and we approve the consideration of travel requests for the DEC administrator as
Second.
permitted.
All right, have a motion and a second. All in favor, or any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're going to go into announcements now. March 27th, 2025, that dreaded day report cards are issued. April 17th, 2025, interims are issued, and April 16th, 2025 would be a junior scholar reception in the PAC atrium out there at 5:15. And our meeting, if you notice, it has been moved up from the 17th to a Wednesday, April the 16th, 2025. That'll be the regular monthly meeting of the Board of Trustees at 6 o'clock. April 18th through 25th, a spring break. May 1st, 2025, board workshop here at District Education Center. May 6th, Human Resource Spring Career Expo in the PAC lobby from 4 to 6. And also on May 6th, 2025, is the Airport High School Education Foundation Gala. That will be held over at the Innovation Center at 6 o'clock. And then May 15th will be our next regular monthly meeting of the Board of Trustees here at 6 o'clock. All right, we will move into executive session, and I believe Ms. Wooten will take us there.
I will. I make a motion that the Board of Trustees enter closed session for the following: discussion regarding Lexington2 properties, consideration of personnel reappointments, and consideration of appointments and resignations.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are in executive. Go straight.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that the Board of Trustees reconvene in open session and the appropriate affidavit executed.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, back in open.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the administration's recommendation for report of breach to the South Carolina Department of Education on Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept all of the personnel reappointments as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept all the administration's recommendations for appointments and resignations.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned.